Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko. Happy to be with you along with Tariq Spence. Tariq, how's your week been going?
So far, so good. Weather's been great, so enjoying the summer thus far.
And Pat Duffy, Uniform King, what do you got on?
Oh, this one's a good one today. It is an Eastern Carolina former Bills wide receiver, Zay Jones jersey, and it's an alternate too. Come on, and it's purple, and it's got the blackout pirate on the side of it. It's a great one. I really like this one.
Why is the pirate blacked out?
I think it's, I don't know, you know how the college teams are, especially with Adidas, where the uniforms just get crazy for no reason, but I like it. You can't even see the pirate. It's stupid, but it's black now. It's cool.
All right, that's the authentication of it. Very nice. Hey, Tariq, let's talk some basketball first. The NBA playoffs has been like an absolute mess. I mean, the games have been exciting and fun and interesting and all the rest. Everybody's hurt. I mean, just recently, Chris Paul's is being tested for COVID. They think he's got it, so he's going to be on the shelf. Kawhi Leonard is hurt. Conley, Irving, Harden, you name it. You know, Anthony Davis helped put the Lakers out of it. What are we to, when we get a champion out of this, what's it going to represent, do you think?
Well, I think it'd still be a legitimate championship. Listen, injuries do happen. You do have these moments. You lost a couple stars last year in the playoffs. Steph Curry for a little bit, and then, Klay Thompson. And, you're going to have these moments where you lose guys to injuries. It happens in all sports. The problem is it's the high marketed athletes that they're losing. No LeBron James, no Steph Curry this year. Harden with the hamstring, as you mentioned before. Kyrie Irving with the ankle. We got a lot of superstars that are out. But it does give you more time to see a Trae Young, to Duffy's point last week, for unfinished business. Donovan Mitchell is playing extremely well. Jokic, I'm surprised they're out so quickly in the playoffs. But now Chris Paul with this whole protocol situation, I feel terrible for him. He's finally getting a chance to be on a team that could win an NBA championship. And here we are with whether, I'm not sure health-wise what it is at this particular moment when we find out the information, but it could cost him in a very pivotal point in this series a chance to advance on. So I'm not quite sure what to make of this. This is the NBA just trying to survive and make it through the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Is there any connect the dots here, do you think, Pat? I mean, the one thing we talked about the bubble last year and how difficult the situation that was, they kind of rushed into the season. Do you think there's any connection there?
I'll tell you what the connection is. It's a short off season leading to more injuries. That's what the connection is, right? I mean, look, I think people underestimate what a brutal grind an NBA season is on these guys' bodies. Like, you see these big men, their careers go 3, 4, 5 years, even the ones that are, primetime high draft picks, because it's brutal running up and down wood floors every single night, 80-something times a year. I mean, if you didn't have the short off season, it would have given guys more opportunity to rehab. And by the way, we're not done, because we're rolling right into the Olympics, right? There are going to be guys, a couple of them announced earlier this week, Draymond Green being one of them. They're going to go from bubble playoffs last year, shortened off season, full season, playoffs, and then get on a plane and go play another high level Olympic tournament after this, man. I would be worried about injuries there, because those are all big time players. I mean, those are going to be legitimate contributors. That's your problem here, man. You should have given them a little more time to get going and played fewer games.
Yeah, Jason Tatum's one of them, too. I was actually shocked when I saw that information come out, the fact that the number of players have done this. I think to Bill's point and to yours, Duffy, the fact that they didn't take an extra amount of time to take time off. This was the perfect time of the year to readjust the schedule, to try to maybe push a couple of games back, maybe shorten this season. Had they shortened this season, maybe get back on a regular schedule where you don't have so much confliction with the NFL. But everybody wanted to keep the same schedule, keep the same thing. And look, the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers, both out in the first round. Where were they last year? In the bubble, in the finals. It's just too much to play. I think now this is a perfect opportunity for those teams to rest up and be ready for next year.
I think as much as anything, it's made me appreciate kind of what these guys go through. I think we all respect the NBA athlete and the constant grind, but it's in our face so much now this postseason. I think you have to kind of tip your hat to the guys who are still out there grinding. This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay & Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Time to talk a little Buffalo Bills, Pat. Ordinarily, there'd be a lot going on with a mandatory minicamp and, inspecting how many pass completions you get in practice, which I still don't get. But with the Bills, everything seems so set, there's not an awful lot to talk about, is there?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's there. Starla Tulele reported. Stephon Diggs, who didn't come to some of the voluntaries, is there. I mean, everybody looks good, as good as you can look, running around in shorts. I mean, the one question I have is who's going to be your second corner defensively, right? Is Levi Wallace the guy that you think can get the job done? Is there somebody that we're not talking about? Is Dane Jackson ready to step up and take that job as a late round pick rookie from last season who's got a lot of promise? But yeah, I mean, other than that, maybe is Harrison Phillips, the D tackle's knee, good after a full year playing on a rebuilt knee? I mean, because if he can't go, now you got to start looking at D tackles for the end of next season because his rookie contract's coming up. But yeah, no, you're right. You have to really, really, really look hard to find something to question. And I don't know if it's fun or if it's making me bored, because normally I'd have a bunch of questions, but I got nothing to do right now when it comes to the Bills.
You got to be bored. You got to be bored, Duffy. I mean, come on. All you're basically waiting for is for these guys to really get in the pads, the preseason to go. I don't even think you take the rankings seriously right now. Like, I think you're just ready to start the season. It's just basically, let's get to week 1 of the NFL. Let's not get anybody hurt during camp. Let's see if we can pick up a few players here and there to address a need here or there. But other than that, it's just basically waiting out the next 2 months, isn't it?
I don't even want to play the preseason. I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't want to play the preseason after last season, right? Like, everything went so well. Forfeit them. Forfeit the games. Tell them you're not coming. Who cares? Just show up against the Steelers and go.
Yeah, the league would love that. And there's only one of them at home, so it's not like the Bills would be damaged that much. Hey, Zach Ertz's name keeps coming up. Tariq, do you see the need? Do you want to bring in another guy?
No, I don't see the need. I think Duffy addressed the needs earlier. I honestly believe that the offense, the team chemistry, what you have going on for the Bills is actually fine. I really wouldn't put anybody in there. Now, it's always good to have the number. It's always good to have somebody make a phone call. Obviously football is a violent sport, so anything could happen. Not that I wish anything on the Buffalo Bills. My goodness, I don't want to wish anything on anybody getting hurt, but you got to obviously have that phone number ready going forward. But other than that, I mean, the chemistry is great. The ads that they made are great offensively. I wouldn't touch anything. Just go into camp, stay healthy, and that's it.
Because the truest thing about the team, Pat, is that you can't predict anything. With injuries and everything like that, you can have everything in place, and all hell breaks loose.
What are you guys doing? Why are you doing this? What are you doing?
It's to get that reaction.
Quiet, bored, nothing good's going on. Hey, what if everyone's heads fall off? Will you guys stop talking, for God's sakes?
What do you think about Zach Ertz? Do you see the need for another tight end?
I mean, look, in all sincerity, if I'm standing back as a non-Bills fan, yeah, I think there is a need for tight end. I don't trust Dawson Knox, and if you're a Bills fan, you shouldn't. Not that he's a fine player, but there are going to be points where look. Kansas City showed it in the AFC Championship game. You need that one more player that could do it. It wasn't Tyler Kroft. Dawson Knox, like I said, has been having his problems. The Bills did clear $7 million in cap money adjusting Stephon Diggs' contract a couple weeks ago. That told me that they were about to make a move, whether it was going to be Julio Jones, which you didn't need, or Zach Ertz. Yeah. I think that there's something here, and we might be seeing something in the next couple of weeks.
Drake, I know you wanted to get into those wide receiver rankings and where the Bills were, whether it was Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs. I have to throw Emmanuel Samuels in there, too. Makes them even better.
Which is why I think they're ranked a little low. They were ranked 5th overall when it comes to a wide receiver combinations. Number 1 was Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce out of Kansas City. But I just think we don't know much about Tennessee, although I wouldn't bet against A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. But we got to see that work together. I don't think Minnesota and I don't think Tampa Bay, with the injuries with Mike Evans last year and Chris Goodwin, I would actually put Stephon Diggs and, you said it, Cole Beasley ahead of them with Emmanuel Sanders. I just feel as if they're ranked 5th. They should be ranked, I think, 2nd or 3rd when it comes to wide receivers in the NFL. But once again, these rankings won't mean anything because by the year we'll have totally different 5 rankings and guys who are 5 or 1. Look at where one Mr. Josh Allen was ranked last year in the NFL, Duffy. And where would you rank him this year?
Well, I don't know, because I remember a guy around this time last year saying if you wanted to make some money, easy money was Josh Allen for MVP, and you laughed me off the show. And then, I don't know, I can't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened. You guys remember what happened? Yeah.
He didn't win MVP. That's what happened.
He did finish 2nd. You're right.
That's
I
fine.
think it was 20-1. We were debating last year at this time the 20-1. I think that was put on Josh Allen to win MVP, and I thought, man, that is amazing. But you called it. There was money to be made. We are the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, a segment of the Press Box brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. With attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Pat, like it or not, the enforcement of the new baseball substance rule, which begins on Monday.
I find it strange how far-reaching they made this thing, and I also found it strange at what point they implemented it, but I know that was something that Tariq wanted to talk about. Like, you're not allowed to wear sunscreen as a pitcher in the summer outside? Like, I mean, like, I don't mean to sound inappropriate, but like, is Major League Baseball ready for the class action lawsuits of guys that have melanoma when they become 50, 60, 70 years old? Like, I mean, what are you doing, man? Like, you went from everything is okay all the time, we're going to look the other way, to anything that comes out of a can you can't have within 10 feet of you before you go out and play baseball.
Listen, when I saw Tyler Glasnow at Tampa Bay, the comments that he made, it made me feel a little bit differently about the way the game is being sort of refereed right now or managed right now. The one thing I will say about this is that he mentioned the fact that there were legendary players that have used this tactic before. Legendary players and players currently that have not said anything about spider tack or anything else to that effect. It made me understand the fact that this is a culture in which no one really is supposed to rat anybody out. But because they started doing that, now Major League Baseball is like, we got to protect the integrity, the image. And oh, by the way, offense is down. We've got to get it back up. So they made this adjustment on pitchers throughout the year, which could lead to more injuries, which is what Glasnow I say, and could lead to actual averages going up in Major League Baseball as the summer heats up a little bit. So I actually I'm kind of surprised that they made it so quickly for this integrity of the game, even though everybody knows what every other pitcher is using. So I'm just shocked that it was done so quickly. And I hope that players don't get injured. If they had just basically said, hey, by the way, by 2022, this is going to be the new rule for going forward, maybe it would be a little bit better. But this is a shock to a lot of pitchers out here that know exactly what each other is doing.
You know, we were leading with this topic and had a good discussion with it last week. And it's like, but it's so developed now that they're actually doing this. And the fact, Pat, that they're doing it in the middle of the season. And the only analogy, and I got Tariq to agree that maybe I was close to something here, was like if a couple of people were killed in the streets as pedestrians hit by cars, that the Rochester Police Department all of a sudden decides, we're going to enforce the jaywalking law, and we're going to start putting you in prison for jaywalking. Just all of a sudden, and right now, as a solution to a problem that may or may not exist.
You're not wrong about that, but we are in an interesting situation because for the first time in professional sports, we're really going to see what a rule adjustment actually does to the number. Because if they did this in the offseason, well, they'd make 15 different excuses. Well, we did this to the ball, or well, ballpark's this and the weather this year compared to that. No, like you're going to see immediately, and you're starting to see immediately what these numbers are going to do, what the pitchers' numbers are going to do. And look, man, like you sit here, we can yell and scream, and baseball purists can be upset about it. But the fact of the matter is, offense is going to go up, and that's what baseball wants. So they're getting what they want, and they get to sit here and be like, well, you know, we're cleaning up the game, even though we don't ever do that until we have to. So it's good for them, man.
It's kind of reshuffling the deck. I says the problem that I wound up thinking about, much like Tariq over this past week from where our discussion was a week ago, was like, why are you just jamming this down everybody's throat? And it's like, you could have established this and waited to next year, fix it and get a restart, give everyone a chance to adapt to it. They didn't do that, and you're right. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is Rochester Press Box, our favorite segment, Unfinished Business. Pat, start us off.
If you like sports, watching this show, you probably had a point where you played sports as a kid. And what stinks about getting older is, important sports things don't happen for you anymore. Maybe you play some rec league stuff, but your glory days are past. And myself and some other gentlemen are getting a golden opportunity this Friday night. I went to Aquinas. I was on the boxing team at Aquinas. And they have this thing called the Mission Bouts every single year where the kids get together after training for 4 months and we fight each other and raise money for the missions in Africa. Well, the kids this year at Aquinas couldn't do it because of the pandemic. And it's gone on for 88 straight years. The school didn't want to break that streak. So to make it 89, they called us all back. Boxing alumni at Aquinas from the ages of like 18 all the way up to guys in their 60s. We've been training for the last 4 months at Rock Boxing on Atlantic Avenue with our coach, Don Marioli. And this Friday, at Aquinas, under the lights, in the stadium, we're going to climb in the ring, and we're going to fight each other. 16 fights. And look, if you're interested, I know if you follow me on social media, you want to see me get punched in the face. I've heard from all of you guys. I'll find the link will be up. You can watch it. They'll be streaming it live. But I would like everybody to know, first of all, thanks for the 7 of you that supported me along the way and were encouraging me. And, hey, man, never give up. Because every once in a while, there is that one last opportunity to enjoy and soak in those glory days.
Something interesting happened this past week that didn't even actually happen on the field or any ice or any court or anything. It basically happened at a press conference. Cristiano Ronaldo basically was at a press conference, sat down and saw 2 sodas in front of him. He moved them aside and put down a water saying agua, obviously meaning water. In that moment, there was a defining moment in a sense where an athlete was making a decision on the way he wanted to live his life as opposed to being branded in that moment. Now, Coca-Cola got upset. Their shares dropped about $4 billion. Don't worry, they recouped that. But they were one of the sponsors of the tournament. And of course, what do they say afterwards along with the tournament? Well, players have a preference on what they want to drink, so they get a chance to pick whatever they would like to drink. So you're telling me Cristiano Ronaldo was able to go out in a press conference, move a sponsor away from him, and soccer and Coca-Cola have nothing to say about that. That tells you how much juice he has, even though he might not even drink it.
This just in, the Chicago White Sox have passed the New York Yankees as the betting favorite to win the American League pennant. Probably has something to do with the fact that New York's lost 7 of its last 9 and is scoring the second fewest number of runs in the American League. If you're already thinking Super Bowl, the Chiefs and the Buccaneers are favored to make a return. Buffalo sits at third at 13-1 against. Like lawn sharks, take the Texans. You got 300-1. Wilson Furr is my preferred long shot at the U.S. Open this week at a cool 2,500-1. He was an alternate at qualifying. I only got to play that when 4 players withdrew. $1 and a dream. This is a great time to be alive if you're into these things. You could have cleaned up at the Westminster Dog Show, where Wasabi, a 3-year-old Pekingese, was the best in show winner. You could have gotten 6-1 by playing the toy group. And need 20-1 by betting on a gray dog winning it. The Cornhole Championships are in August. Best bet, play the field against a defending champion. The American Cornhole League, and yes, there is such a thing, actually features DraftKings as a corporate sponsor. So make it rain. Indeed, these days, there are more ways to lose your money than ever. Although I confess I could not find a line on the Pat Duffy fight. That's very disappointing. Guys, that is our show. What is it?
I'm fighting a 22-year-old kid. The odds are hard in his favor, so go that way.
Protect yourself at all times.
Thank you, Tariq. Wow, where have you been this whole time? Why haven't you been coaching me? Thanks, Tariq. I appreciate that.
Words of wisdom from Tariq Spence. Hey, thanks, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.